Blacklist, Hunter here, and today we're simply gonna yap about the Hisoka vs Kastro fight and explain why it's really awesome. Now, there are a couple of reasons why this fight is really underrated. First off, this is the first real Nen fight we got to see in the series, and it involved the main antagonist Hisoka, the Magician, and the 2011 adaptation really did justice to the manga except with a few minor changes. Now, Geto vs Gon was a mediocre fight, so Gon could advance in his learning of Nen, but man, this Kastro vs Hisoka fight, it was truly next level and a really well thought out fight. I have said countless times, bro, that Togashi is truly a genius, and even though we don't see too many fights in Hunter x Hunter, the ones we have are truly substantial. Hisoka is a mystery of a character, he is intriguing, and just his presence in any moment in Hunter x Hunter makes the story truly special. Hisoka doesn't spare just anybody. In his previous encounter with Kastro, Hisoka felt the potential he had to grow even more powerful, so he could give the Magician a good fight later on. So Hisoka gave him time. Possibly he even motivated Kastro even more by throwing in some provocative words. Thus, Kastro made it his life goal to get stronger, perfect a new technique, all in order to end Hisoka once and for all. He wanted to kill Hisoka so badly. And I love that in the beginning of the fight, Kastro was like, he was grateful to Hisoka. He says that, and man, that's why you learn a lesson from this fight, to never speak before you have the results. It's like when you do a match with somebody, so you speak beforehand and then you lose. So Kastro was grateful to Hisoka because he made him stronger, and he was confident, but still he underestimated Hisoka. And of course, Hisoka being Hisoka was like, who got strong? And it's a perfect provocative response from Hisoka, just what you'd expect from his character. So I've already made a video on Kastro, but this dude actually won 9 fights and he stated that he was never serious in any of them. So Kastro was actually saving the anger, building it up so he could unleash full force on the boy Moro. So Moro never took this fight seriously in any second at all. So you know, Kastro actually managed to hit Hisoka twice, and Hisoka, as perceptive as he was, he felt a new presence but still couldn't figure out Kastro's ability. So this means that Kastro was actually a formidable Nen user. He was so skilled at activating his double ability on and off so swiftly that Hisoka couldn't catch a glimpse. So Kastro did say to Hisoka that he should get serious, but Hisoka never got serious at any point. If Hisoka had gotten serious, he would make the same face he did against Crollo, and if Kastro saw that face, bro, the dude was either gonna run for his life or beg for mercy. I mean, that is one evil looking face. So what I love about this fight is that we finally see a real Nen fight, and it involves Hisoka, and it's a really intense fight. But Hisoka is actually getting hit, that's the main point, because the dude before, he felt like unstoppable. In the Hunter exam, for example, we saw Hisoka in the Hunter exam and the dude felt like he was out of reach, untouchable. So in this fight, we saw actual combat. Kastro was kicking Hisoka down to the floor, and for some reason, that felt strange and cool at the same time. At some point, Hisoka blocked Kastro's kick from the front, and then somehow Kastro was behind him, and Hisoka was actually surprised at this. Just look at the face Hisoka does at this point. So Kastro actually managed to land hits on Hisoka, Moro, and they were really heavy. However, Hisoka was a monster physically, so he didn't feel much of it. What's impressive is how calm Hisoka stays during the fight. And I gotta say, I have watched the 1999 version more than 15 years ago. Then I read the manga, then watched the new anime. So when I read the manga for the first time, I was standing at the edge of the chair. This fight is so well thought, it was really cool and exciting. At some point, we even get Killua saying Hisoka would be killed at this rate. However, even though Hisoka was close to figuring it out, and he was talking about how Kastro vanished and stuff, he still couldn't figure out Kastro's ability. And then we have Kastro activating his most powerful ability, Tiger Bite Fist. And if you read him for the first time, the manga, you are like, what is going to happen? This dude Kastro actually looks really tough. He might take out Hisoka, but narratively, you know Hisoka is not gonna lose, but it's a really cool and intense fight. So Hisoka, instead of using his Hatsu and Bungee Gum, and of course at this point we didn't know, but Hisoka made things even more difficult for himself, and in order to put on a show. So Hisoka willingly offers his arm to Kastro. Kastro takes his other arm, and the dude Moro is like, this is all within expectations. I mean, bro, personally, I feel like this fight is more exciting than 70% of fights in Jujutsu Kaisen, because it's so unpredictable. Hisoka then figured out Kastro's ability, and Kastro was impressed and still confident, as of course Hisoka had lost an arm, but the reader thinks how Hisoka is gonna get out of this mess. And Kastro's ability double is really cool if you think about it, but Hisoka is just too sharp and insanely smart, and Kastro was ready to go all out using his double. However, Hisoka was getting warmed up at this point. So then Hisoka gave the statement that he's going to foresee the future, and he does the trick with the cards. But what's more insane is how he pulled out a ace card out of his own arm wound. Togashi, man, how do you even think about this, bro? Hisoka had one arm and he still was steps ahead of Kastro. We did get to know how Hisoka performed all these tricks later, but at first reading or watching you don't know anything. The fight becomes even more insane when Hisoka offered the remaining arm and Kastro sent his double to take it. However, Hisoka then stated that he would have countered with the arm that Kastro cut off the first time. So Hisoka pulls out the arm in perfect condition, the arm which Kastro took for the first time, which blows your mind. Is this dude really a magician? Man, for a second even Kastro was doubting Nen. So Hisoka's severed arm came back looking all nice and new. Then Hisoka proceeded to mentally confuse Kastro because he was superior in the psychological aspect. Hisoka was steps ahead, he was calm under pressure and was performing tricks nonchalantly. The tide of battle then turned in Hisoka's favor. Kastro lost the psychological battle and he basically forgot to turn on Gyo, and there is another dude in the future chapters who does the same thing. Hisoka then proceeds to taunt Kastro on how he doesn't know the tricks of magic. He knows how the double will attack. Hisoka stated that Kastro had talent and furthermore that Kastro will dance himself to death. This scared Kastro and he rashly attacked with his double. However, Hisoka already pinpointed the double as Kastro couldn't recreate the effects of battle such as blood and stuff. Hisoka is a monster and only a dude with 10 abilities like Crawler can beat him with bombs. Let's be fair here. Hisoka's deadly stare on Kastro threw Kastro off as he got scared for his life, and as he went for a final attack, Hisoka's arm punched him out of nowhere on the chin, leaving him stunned. And at this point I actually felt bad for Kastro, I'm not gonna lie. I actually started to like the character. He was truly strong, but ultimately he got shot with several shoe powered cards, thus falling to his demise. Kastro the warrior, and Hisoka did praise Kastro's ability as he took effort and skill to create a double. However, Kastro had focused too much only on that double ability and he forgot to use the other fundamentals of Nen, and as Hisoka stated, he squandered his memory capacity. But this was a freestyle kind of video where I give out my thoughts. If you enjoy these types of videos, consider subscribing, like the video, and I'll see you in the next Hunter x Hunter video.